After Donald Trump's historic victory in the 2024 presidential election, Democrat operatives continued to blame the voters for their loss instead of their own mistakes. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video with On Point Politics. Hit the like button and subscribe if you want more content just like this. Looking at the electoral map, Donald Trump got 312 electoral college votes to Harris's 226 electoral college votes. We could see that the shading looks slightly different than the traditional maps. That's because I'm using a new grading system for the states. Anything from 0 to 2 points is in the tilt column. Anything from 2 to 6 is in the lean column. Anything from 6 to 12 points is likely, and anything above 12 points is in the safe Democrat or Republican column, hence why you see Virginia and New Jersey in the lean column here. In retrospect, both of these states ended up going to Harris by only 200,000 votes, which is way closer to 2020, and we can actually see, comparing it with this new grading system, just how much Trump had a political mandate. You see Texas is a lean state in this election. It was only a 5.6 percentage point win for Donald Trump. Here it was 13.7, where it is in the safe Republican column now. So when you visualize it this way, you can really see how much Trump improved all over. You can even notice how much he improved in Michigan for the most part, because these two only flip from tilt blue to tilt red. This goes from lean blue all the way to tilt red. So you can see clearly there is a bigger shift in Michigan than the other Rust Belt states. And you can also see, in New Jersey, just the humongous shift in the state of New Jersey, first of all. So that's also really a fascinating shift. Colorado, you see it going from safe to likely. And you see Arizona going from tilt blue to lean Republican there, almost in the likely category, which is pretty fascinating. But we do see that Trump did win pretty heavily, and now we have Chuck Schumer basically blaming the voters for their loss, which is just absolutely unbelievable. And this is very fascinating because, Chuck Schumer is a very establishment Democrat. He's been around for a pretty long time, not very popular. He only won his Senate seat by 14 points against a no-name Republican in his last election. And so I think it is pretty interesting that that is the case, that he is really going out there. And he basically claims and says that the American vote doesn't realize how much we had done for them. The voters didn't realize how much they had done for them in the election. And we see a statement from Eric saying, when Trump didn't become president after 2020, did he blame the voters? No. Say what you want about election integrity debate, but he took his fight to the system, not the voters. He spoke highly of the voters. Then he went on to run a wildly successful campaign. Democrats are now saying that the voters failed to realize how much good Biden and the deep state did for the people. This is absolutely deaf tone, and I hope they keep it up for the midterms and 2028. This is something that really will affect the 2028 election. If they do keep up with this banter, you're going to see Democrats struggle in some of these big city areas. And the reason why a lot of these big city areas shifted to the right really is because of economic policies that the Democrats were saying, oh, it's actually helping the economy, and then they didn't help the economy, and that's why you got the result you got this time around. Now, looking to the future, I mean, Washington, Oregon, California, those will be safe. A lot of these are going to come in. It depends on the national environment, but I could probably almost guarantee you that these states are going to be coming in safe GOP, as well as South Carolina. I think Florida will be coming in safe GOP, as well as Texas. I think the Hispanic vote's going to be a pretty big coalition for the GOP, and I think these states will continue to move Republican as time goes on. As for Iowa and Ohio, I'd say these are likely GOP states. I think that maybe they are going to shift left in 2028. I suspect the Democrats are going to pick a better working class nominee, and so that's why you would see that occur, as well as Illinois going into the safe Democrat column, including Colorado, as well as a couple other states in the Northeast like Connecticut, Rhode Island, Delaware. I think those will still fall in the plus 12 category. Same thing for Maine's first. I do think Maine's second will be safe, however, which would put the state of Maine at large kind of in a lean position as of right now. However, I actually think that New Hampshire is still still lean, but it's probably closer to 4 or 5 points for the Democrat Party I think that New York probably ends up becoming a little bit closer. Maybe Illinois does fall under 12, but I don't think it would shift right or left that much. I do think New York is the state that would end up getting really close in 28. I think that one's going to come down to single digits, probably like a 6 or 7 point win in the state of New York. We also see places like Virginia continuing to shift left. I think about an 8 or 9 point win is pretty reasonable in the state of Virginia. I do think that Arizona would end up moving into that safe, kind of over 6 point win. I think Nevada would be close to a 6 point win, but I think it's still under 6 as of right now. Alaska, sort of the same thing. Hawaii, kind of the same thing. So really, when you're looking at an electoral map, all of these states that are basically roughly about 6 points, really, you see Nevada, Maine at large, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Maybe Minnesota does go over 6. It's possible that Hennepin does continue to move left. So we could see that happen, and that would kind of affect Wisconsin in some ways, but maybe, Michigan and Pennsylvania kind of move a certain way. Maybe New Jersey kind of moves a certain way. North Carolina, Georgia, and New Mexico. The map can look kind of funky in 2028. I think the swing states will change. There is a possibility that Pennsylvania kind of goes through a Ohioification where the state really becomes a GOP stronghold thanks to Scott Presler. But I think as of right now, this is kind of the electoral toss-up map that you're really looking at for 28, really 230 for Republicans, 200 for Democrats. Maybe, Minnesota and Arizona kind of are not in that category. It's definitely possible that that is the case, and that you'll get a pretty competitive map where the Democrat kind of has to run it up. And some of the, Rust Belt states, even some of the southern states like Georgia, North Carolina, where Democrats did actually have a pretty big, decent hotspots. They still lost these states, but they didn't shift as much to the right as it seemed to. And we see that Wisconsin was also a little bit of a pretty decent state for Democrats. Really, the pathway for Democrats to win the Electoral College is to essentially take New Mexico, Minnesota, Nebraska, Maine at large, New Hampshire, and New Jersey all by over 6. Probably take Georgia, North Carolina, and Wisconsin, and flip another state, presumably would be Michigan or Pennsylvania, into their column. I think Michigan is going to have more GOP tendencies. The automotive industry is in a complete disaster there, and so I think because of that, it is actually going to be the most GOP-leaning Rust Belt state. I think without the assassination attempt, Pennsylvania would have only been the second most Republican Rust Belt state in this election, and then Arizona would probably still be lean GOP, and Nevada would probably be close, maybe under 2 points. But you could see that Pennsylvania, once again, is going to be a really, really big deciding factor in the 2028 election. It's definitely going to be a very, very crucial state heading into that election, because if Nevada, Michigan, and Pennsylvania end up going Republican with Arizona, the GOP wins the Electoral College. So it's going to be a really interesting election to look forward to. There's many different things that could happen from then to now. Obviously, many things could change, but more than likely, you're going to see Hispanics move more Republican. Asian/other voters may be pretty stagnant. You may see college, whites kind of move a little bit left, hence why Virginia and Colorado continue to move in that direction. You're going to see a richer voter kind of move left as well. So that's going to be very key, heading into 2028. But you're going to see poor, more working class, non-college educated whites kind of move Republican. And you're going to see the Hispanic vote also really moves, hence why Texas and Florida are basically over 12-point wins in this electoral college map. And there's many combinations for either party to win, but it seems like Republicans are now basically are the ones with the advantage, because let's say you run a really working class, Republican, Nevada and Arizona and North Carolina would be easy wins. And if Pennsylvania goes, that's it. And whoever the Republican is would essentially win that election. And so right now, Democrats are continuing to blame voters for their 2024 losses. If they were to keep up, they're going to have a disastrous time heading into the 2028 presidential election. If you guys did enjoy this analysis, hit the like button and subscribe for more content just like this, and I will see you guys in the next video.